Live from New York City, it's the Gary Null Show. And now, your host, Gary Null.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Null. Nice to have you with us today. There is a lot of good science in the traditional Chinese medicine archives that are at the National, again. Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Null. This is the place to be if you're interested in living a longer life, being healthier, preventing illnesses, or improving the conditions that you have. Everything that I share with you comes from the Library of Medicine. That's the official repository of all the quality science that we believe should be used as the basis for making intelligent choices, reasonable choices. Now, what I have found is that there are tens of thousands, indeed hundreds of thousands of studies on nutrients like vitamin C and vitamin E and the B complex, on how those nutrients can enhance your immune system and well-being and therefore be an important part of preventing disease. Because I shared on a recent program, a high number of people with breast cancer, colorectal cancer, and other conditions were deficient in nutrients such as zinc, selenium, and vitamin D3, easy to obtain either through natural sources like a plant-based diet or through proper and intelligent supplementation. And yet, unfortunately, the mainstream medical community does not rely upon that information. Instead, it relies upon what it's told from, more often than not, from pharmaceutical journals or journals that are supported by the pharmaceutical industry about the latest miracle drug. Well, okay, if there's a drug or medication or medical procedure that can extend our life, prevent disease, I'm all for it. But something we know from thousands of years, that there are natural substances that we could be taking on a regular basis. For example, this study is from Ohio State University, and it deals with Korean ginseng. It prevents oxidative stress caused by work. Now, just if you are not familiar with oxidative stress, when we go out to exercise, that's good, and we should. The younger we begin exercising, the more systematic our exercising, like exercising in the morning, you get a better condition within the body rather than exercising in the evening. Also, what happens when you exercise? They can help you live a longer life and lengthen your telomeres, the end cap proteins on your chromosomes, much like a shoelace. Those plastic caps on the end of a shoelace keep the shoelace from unraveling. When the DNA begins to unravel on the chromosomes, your life shortens. Hence, shorter telomeres, shorter lifespan, longer telomeres, longer lifespan. So we focus upon what will cause telomeres to stay long and therefore provide you 5, 10, 20 years of extra life, quality life. Well, exercise is at the top of that list. Now, here's what else comes when you exercise. You increase the endorphins. These are the feel-good hormones that your brain secretes. And when you do about an hour worth of exercise, aerobic exercise in the morning, biking, jogging, power walking, swimming, you're going to feel better. Your mood will be better. You'll have a more positive disposition, probably for the next 6 hours. If, in addition to that, you realize that you're burning fat, and that fat is generally around the abdomen, the belly and the thighs, the buttocks. And when that is lowered, that's a good thing, because one thing that can cause you to gain a lot of weight, be obese, is that extra fat, and that shortens your lifespan, increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. You also are lowering your pulse rate. Now, every morning before you work out, you should take your pulse, gently touch, just right near, if you're watching me, just gently touch right there, the outside of your artery, and you'll feel a pulse, boom, boom, boom. Now, you should take that before you exercise. And why? Because when you exercise regularly, you can help lower that. Now, I had my pulse taken yesterday, my blood pressure taken yesterday by a medical doctor, and an acupuncturist to do preventative acupuncture, which I highly recommend. It is one of the single best things you can do for pain, for your heart and regularity of the heartbeat, and for better nerve connectivity, especially people who might have some form of scar tissue. It's terrific. And it's not that expensive. But in any case, my pulse rate is what it should be, 50 beats per minute. Now, why is that important? Because the average American is closer to 75 to 80 beats per minute. Now, why is that really important? Because the more beats per minute, the shorter the lifespan of the heart. Why? Because all the organs of the body have biological clocks. And as a result, you could feel okay, your brain could be fine, but if you've been a smoker, both your lungs and your heart are going to be prematurely aged. If you've been sedentary and not exercised, that means that, well, your muscular system is going to be flabby. You'll have more fat. You'll lose the tensile strength you should have. You won't have the abs. You won't have the strength in your legs. And as you get older, it becomes more and more difficult to keep that muscle on your body. So you're going to live a shorter life. Your lungs will be shorter. Your heart will be shorter. So you see, we don't die all at once. It's not like every organ in the body just collapses. Heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, brain. It doesn't work that way. And whichever one has created the most oxidative stress has the most insults against this DNA. Now, just a little lesson in biochemistry. And by the way, I am a registered dietitian. I am a clinical nutritionist, board certified in my field, and I've counseled tens of thousands of people. I've done over 56 clinical studies, including published in peer-reviewed journals, invited by scientific conferences all over the world to present my research, and was senior research fellow at the Institute of Applied Biology and the head of the anti-aging department. So it's something that I know from a career of working in the field, that every single little thing you do right prevents the accumulation of what you do wrong. Years ago, there was a book, you probably heard about it. It was called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff and Everything is Small Stuff, meaning doesn't matter what you do, it's all small stuff. So you have a hamburger, so you have French fries, so you yell and scream in an argument, so what? You know, the next day it's over, day begins new. Not true. Not true. Did you know that one single argument is enough to raise your blood pressure and cause micro strokes throughout the brain? Now, this isn't a major stroke. It's not going to cause you to suddenly feel pain across your shoulder, down your chest. Now your jaw starts to change, your lips change, your tongue can't focus on the way it should be to pronounce words. Your breathing is affected and you go paralyzed. No, we're talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of tiny little strokes in the brain. And you can actually see them at autopsy. You can see these little tiny strokes versus the big strokes that we call dementia, Alzheimer's related, the amyloid beta plaque. So one argument, one screaming fit is enough to kill you. And how many people end up having a stroke at night after they've had an argument in the day? So we just adapt to our behavior or other people's behavior, including maladapting to bad behavior. We just tolerate it. But the body absorbs all that, and that hurts you. You shouldn't be someone's, mat that they can wipe their feet on emotionally. No, there's a time to say no more and walk away to save your own life. Now let's get back to oxidative stress. That causes massive oxidative stress. Arguing, insecurity, uncertainty, fear. You all have felt that sensation. We all do at some point when something goes wrong or we're anticipating something going wrong. Maybe you got to know you're going to be audited by the IRS. You get that queasy sensation. You can feel it. Or you're feeling it because it's also your heart's involved. Stress can kill the heart. And you have more or less about, depending upon your body size, 50 to 75 trillion cells in your body. The latest science shows that those cells are altered about 10,000 times every 24 hours. That means that there's some damage done to them, and oxidative stress is the number one damage. Imagine then every time you have the wrong food, the wrong beverage, coffee, the wrong sugar beverages, the wrong carbonated beverages, and then you have the pizzas, hamburgers, French fries, bagels. You have all the meat, the salami. All of that is wrong for the body. Now, maybe right for your culture, maybe right for your conditioning, your family habits. Oh, we're going to have a pizza tonight. It doesn't make it right because the majority of people do something wrong. So remember what I'm saying, please. Every small thing you do right means your cells are going to stay undamaged longer from oxidative stress, because oxidative stress creates the free radicals. The free radicals are what hit the cell and damage it. And then one time when you're younger, you can repair a lot of that damage. When you get older, no. So that's why where I grew up, I'm sure many of you grew up the same way. Nobody ever changed. I mean, literally, no one changed anything outside of a high school or college. Everything was the same almost every day. It was predictable. Just one repetition. Just, oh, we're going to get up. We're going to have our morning constitutional. We're going to have breakfast. We're going to go the same route to work. We're going to do the same work. We're going to come home. We're going to eat. We're going to converse or not, have dinner, watch the same television. But it's the same, at least for the older generations. Hence, no one ever got healthier the older they got. They might have gotten wiser, but not healthier. And no one lived a longer life because everyone smoked. Everyone drank, not to get drunk, social drinking. Everyone had junk food. Why? Because TV dinners were things. Do you remember those things? God, they were terrible. And you even had a TV dinner tray, those little aluminum trays that you fold up, and then your mom puts that thing in the microwave. Itself dangerous, creating free radical damage to the food. And then you take the aluminum foil off, and you had some potatoes that didn't taste like homemade, home cooked potatoes, and you had some kind of meat and vegetables. It all was just mush. Anyhow, but people would sit and watch television and eat. Well, that was not good. And then the fast food, eating out, that was not good. Now we eat the wrong food in and we eat the wrong food out. So I'm just sharing this with you as an extended version of our health and nutrition segment to show you that never confuse the complexity of a problem with the simplicity of its solution. So stop all the negatives. Anything creates inflammation. The inflammation creates the free radicals and the oxidative stress then damage your cell. And then one day you hit 40 and something aches. Pain here, fatigue there. You don't have the same sense of body fluid movement. You don't have the same capacity for endurance, strength, stamina, balance, even your cognition. Where did I leave did I forget? I just read something. I forgot what I read. And then it gets worse. But it can be reversed. But first you have to stop it before you can put it in reverse. And you do that by simply paying attention that if it creates oxidative stress, understand you must change that. Now, getting back to my main point, when you exercise, your heart rate comes down. That extends the life of your heart. You're getting better circulation to the microcirculatory system in your brain and into your extremities. That's important too. You're also strengthening your muscles. You're burning fat. You're creating feel-good hormones. You're getting better lung capacity. All that is to your advantage. Now just take these nutrients to compensate for the oxidative stress, because you're also prematurely aging yourself. Here's the irony. It sounds like a contradiction. It is not. Exercise is vital to staying healthy. Exercise also causes you to age prematurely. If you doubt me, why don't you take a look at some of the greatest athletes, track and field stars, marathon runners, about 20 years after their marathoning days are way over. And they're prematurely older because they overuse the cells in their body. And without producing the new cells, their body's no longer 40, it's 60. Now, having counseled some of the greatest athletes in history, I can tell you that really hits them like a ton of bricks. Let me give you one more example. When I was in New York City, every morning I would run around the reservoir. Generally with a couple of friends, we would train together and race together. And we trained based upon the length of the race. Let's say we're doing a 20K, it's 12 miles, then we would train about 15 miles. You always want to train a little longer than your race. But there was always a guy who was running 13 miles every day, 7 days a week, at the same 6-minute pace. And he was always out there. Every day we would see him. Now, he ran not on the reservoir, he ran on a road right 15 feet below the reservoir. And we'd see him say hello. So one day I asked him, I said, "What are you training for?" He said, "Oh, I'm not training for anything." I said, "Why are you running 13 miles at a 6-minute pace?" He said, "Well, my body loves it." I said, "Let me explain this. Your body may love that, but your body is prematurely aging because we should only be doing road work about 4 miles a day to keep optimally well. 4 miles a day." Okay. He shrugged it off. 5 years later, I'm going into Lincoln Center and he's coming out. "Oh, Gary, good to see you." And I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Oh, not good, not good." "Why?" "Well, my leg's burned out." "How old are you?" "I'm 46. "What can you run a mile out now?" He said, "I can't." "You can't run a mile?" He said, "I can jog real slow, about a 10-minute mile. I can't do 2 miles. And I've gone to multiple doctors and they just said that the cells, my DNA's just been prematurely damaged. It was like I was always racing a car, but never changing the oil, never resting it. I burned out. You were right. I should have listened. I didn't. And now I'm told that I'll never be able to run again. And yet there was no injury as such. It was, he had prematurely aged his body. Keep that in mind. Because a lot of us, myself included, did too many marathons. I did over 84 marathons for 600 races. I'm still racing. In fact, I'm racing in a few days. I'm going to try to set a new state record in my age group. In any case, just remember, don't overdo anything. Keep your life in balance. Do what you need to maintain health and reduce oxidative stress, because all that exercise, massive DNA damage from oxidative stress. So what can you do? Do less distance, give yourself a break, rest 2 days a week, and then do proper stretching. Yoga helps with that. Vitamin C, coenzyme Q10, L-carnitine, L-carnosine, vitamin E, tocotrienols, magnesium with calcium, and cayenne. So if you take those nutrients before you go out in the morning, and when you come back, you will have all the benefits of the exercise, but you will have trapped with those antioxidants, the free radicals from the oxidative stress. Hence, you get all the benefit of exercise and none of the limitation of oxidative stress. So in any case, getting back to the original study from Ohio State University, people who are stressed can find relief by taking Korean ginseng. A study published in the Journal of Medicinal Food has revealed that the Korean ginseng can help reduce stress mentally and physically. So that's important, all right? It's all natural. There are thousands of articles. In fact, going clear back almost 40 years, I was the person always called in to do the debates. I debated all over America on ABC Network and David Suskind's show. And because a lot of people were afraid to debate. They were afraid to, looking bad. I didn't have a problem with that. So I debated hundreds of times. And in one of these debates, the issue was ginseng. So here's a doctor sitting across from me and saying that there's no benefit to ginseng. There's no scientific study supporting it. It's just one of these oriental things that seem a little exotic, but there's no benefit to it. And then the narrator turned to me and said, "And you say what?" I say, "Well, I don't really say anything. But I wanted to bring," and I held up, it was this, look where my hands are, a foot apart. I had 5,000, I repeat, 5,000 scientific references from the Academy of Science and Medicine in Japan, as well as in China. And indeed, we had not done the scientific research in the United States, but cultures, thriving cultures that had the best knowledge in the world of Oriental medicine had proven in the best scientific way that this works. And so then it was turning back to the doctor. Did you know about it? I didn't know about this. That was the end of the debate. So you can say something doesn't exist until you prove that it does. Now then, to stay focused upon a belief that something doesn't work when we have proof that it does, well, the proof is what we should focus upon. So there are a lot of things in traditional Chinese medicine that work. And ginseng is one of them because it reduces cortisol levels and it reduces muscle damage. So one thing that you could do before you're exercising, if you feel stressed, take some ginseng. Now, from Boston Medical Center, when low-income families can meet their basic needs, children are healthier. A series of reports from 5 cities across the United States found that young children and their parents are healthier when they're able to afford basic needs. New research published in Children's Health Watch, which is in Boston Medical Center, highlights the needs of policymakers to improve access to the effectiveness of programs that enable all families with low incomes to afford basic needs like food, shelter, utilities, medical care, and health care that they need. So they looked at 18,000 families of children under the age of 4, and they found that that was the case. I remember once I was on WMCA, and I got a call from a person who was well known. Her name was Gloria Swanson. She was one of the founders of United Artists with Charlie Chaplin, D.W. Griffith. There was Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks Sr. And she was one of the people who were at the beginning of the entire Hollywood movie-making phenomena. And here she was. When I met her, she said, "Can we meet? I want to go over some stuff with you." I said, "Fine." And she was a very petite person. She had white gloves on. And I said, "What are the gloves for?" She says, "To keep my skin healthy, young looking." And her skin was great. And she asked me, "Would you be willing to create a healthy vegan menu for some of the schools up in Harlem?" I said, "Sure." And because of her celebrity status and who she knew, we were able to get that done. And the key was creating healthy foods that were healthy, but gave some of the same mouthfeel, smell, and eye appeal of what they were used to eating. And it went over very well. And From there, there was a whole movement across the country. Alexander Schaus and others were trying to get into prisons. I got into to the Jersey State Prison, and we gave later, this was later, we gave all the patients in one ward who had AIDS a healthy diet and a holistic protocol. None died. They all got healthier. And Schaus took the sugar and out of a prison system, and fighting and violence decreased by 90%. So we were showing the food-mood connection. In any case, I believe that today, one of the things we could do with the money that we spend, instead of spending it on something that does not help humanity, is we should go into every poor neighborhood in America and have a healthy soup kitchen that is open from morning till night, and where people can have organic, healthy foods, plant-based diet, juices with probiotics and nutrients. You could get a nutrient shake. So this way, people who otherwise may not be able to afford this, or they may not even have a health food store or farmer's market in their neighborhood, would be able to get this stuff for free. Because this way, nobody would be deprived because of income from healthy eating, and especially the children. So if we were able to give all the poor children in America, and right now that's about 40 million poor children, and that's 16 million food disadvantaged children, meaning they're just not getting enough food to eat each day. And frequently what they do eat is not healthy, which contributes to childhood conditions. So think about how much better Americans would be in their health if we saw that their food needs were taken care of. We're a rich country. We could afford it. Just a thought. And finally, the Alliance for Natural Health and Queen Mary University found that vitamin D works as well as flu shots. New research shows that vitamin D helps prevent infection of the flu. But again, you have to be taking it on a daily basis. Most people don't. So I think that's very important. Now, if you took vitamin D3, which has well-documented antiviral capabilities for years, that's in the medical literature, and then you add vitamin C and quercetin into that, and you add Padiarco, echinacea, into that, then you've got a great combination of nutrients each day that could help you. Quercetin, vitamin C, vitamin D3, zinc, very important. All these are the superstars. Then the herbs also make a difference. That's the latest on health and healing. A little longer today, but at least if you understand the larger construct that I'm trying to share, that remember this again, everything we do in life, from every thought we have, to everything we ingest, to the nature of our conversations, to where we live, where we work, the quality of our friendships, all of this matters. And the more of these you have in a positive, healthy, balanced way, the longer you're going to live, the less disease you will suffer from, and you'll have a much better way of helping yourself if you are diagnosed with a disease, if you're already strong in your immune system and positive in your resolve. Back in a moment, and by the way, we are, just so you know, a lot of people tune in to get the health and nutrition information because I've given more information to the general public on health nutrition than any person in American history. Think about it for a second. Approaching 50,000 hours on the air, over 100 books, multiple dozens of bestsellers, and plus 3 massive hits on PBS, the most in their history up to that point, on How to Live Forever, Get Healthy Now, and For Women Only. Plus 30 other smaller programs on PBS stations around the country, and over 100,000 people in workshops. So there's a lot of information shared. And this daily radio program, just on our sister station, WBAI, has been on for 46 years. 4 more years, if Pacifica lasts, and hopefully it will, and our beloved BAI will make a half a century. That's the longest running non-commercial radio program in American history. I don't say that to brag, I just say it's just, there's a lot of information that's been given to people. My hope is that people actually use it. The more of this you use, the better it's going to be. So what we've done is this. We have taken hundreds of my discussions on health, just health, and we put them all together. If you go to PRN.Live or GaryNull.com, you can see just that. So if you just want to get the best on health, you get it every day. And if you don't want the information on the environment or commentaries or conversations with remarkable minds or hard-hitting investigative reporting, that's fine, because I also have that. But that comes after the break. Thank you all for coming up today to be a part of this. We're going to take a break and come back with the rest of our program.
Are you tired of closed-minded programming? Well, look no further than PRN.Live, the home for progressive voices.